Good evening. Welcome to our August 24th council meeting. Um, We have a full council here. And if you would, we'll stand, and the pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Dusty Brantner, and the invocation will be by Councilwoman Alma Flores.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. As we open tonight's meeting, let us remember that our role is one of service to our community and to one another. May we carry out the work before us with wisdom, professionalism, and respect for all voices and viewpoints. With appreciation for the opportunity to serve, let us begin tonight's meeting. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 5. Citizen comments on any agenda items.
Mayor, I do not have any comments for agenda items.
Number 6, citizen comments on non-agenda items.
Yes, Mayor, it looks we have about 5, 6 comments. The first one will be Matt Hancock.
Hello, council members. Hello, citizens of Safford. My name's Matt Hancock, and I do live within the Safford city limits. Now, I'm here to address those pesky cameras that record you without you knowing and invade your privacy. I think they're unethical, unconstitutional, and should be banned everywhere in the United States of America. I'm talking about the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. Everybody is concerned about the flock cameras, while some creepy guy is hitting on girls in Walmart and recording it with his Meta smart glasses. That's the real problem. Ban Meta smart glasses in Safford 2026. Is anybody with me? But since I'm here, I guess I'll talk about the flock cameras. Look, to the citizens of Safford, Arizona, I say do not worry about the flock cameras, okay? They run off of either Sparklight or Valley Telecom, which means they don't work. Now, a lot of people are afraid that police officers will misuse the flock cameras to stalk their ex-wives. But I think police officers absolutely should be able to use the flock cameras to stalk their ex-wives. As long as the ex-wife is a fentanyl dealer, by all means, use them. It's interesting. In the animal kingdom, a group of buffalo is called a gang. A group of crows is called a murder. And so what happens in Safford when you have gangs and murders? You get recorded by the flock. All right, now to close out my address, I've come up with a list of solutions to fix this flock camera problem. All right, you ready for this? Here we go. Number 1, carry DNA test results in your car at all times in case the flock thinks your kids are not yours. You know what I'm saying? You guys are allowed to smile, council members. Number 2, post the flock footage on Facebook. I'm talking about public shaming, people. Crime will become so embarrassing, we won't need the flock cameras anymore. You know what I'm saying? Number 3, if you've stolen a car, which I'm not advocating for, but if you've stolen a car, just drive it to Bowie, Arizona. They can't afford flock cameras over there, okay? Number 4, just don't commit crime and you have nothing to worry about. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you to the council members. Appreciate everything you do. I back the blue. I support law enforcement.
Thank you,
Go
Mr. Hancock.
Bulldogs.
Thank you.
Mayor and B, I'm sorry. I had asked our city attorney, Bill, if he could just run through the rules real quick for public speaking, just so everybody is aware. Bill, do you mind sharing?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council. when the public talks to you on an item that's not on the agenda, you can have three responses. One is to respond to criticism. Two is to direct staff to take action in light of the suggestions. Or three is to put something on the agenda. Flock is not on the agenda, but I'm here to tell you that I have been working closely with your chief and have a document that I presented to Flock, and hopefully we'll be able to come back to you in the near future.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Mayor Ortega, next we have Vance Bryce.
Good evening. I've handed out a few notes on what the chamber's been up to. A few things going on this week is we have a board meeting on Wednesday at 1. The next mixer for the chamber is going to be 3 ribbon cuttings in downtown Safford. That's 5 o'clock at Genevieve's, 6 o'clock at Copper and Cotton Lifestyle Co., and 6:30 at Garrett's Sweet Shop. Also, we just wrapped up our Moonshot project. That was in coordination with the EAC Small Business Development Center. We gave out $10,000 in funding with help this is to small businesses, with help from Freeport MacBrand, Country Financial, Valley Telecom Group, and Gila Cheer. Wanted to thank them publicly. We also just finished up the booth setup for this year's League of Cities and Towns Conference for the city of Safford. We gave away to the different mayors and councils in the state of Arizona soap from Marcia's Garden, Doc Holiday from Pepsi, tortillas from Mi Casa Tortilla, City of Safford backpacks made by Trophies and Teas, and eyeglass cleaner static rags from Trinity Body Works and Beard Co. Some things going on in the next 2 weeks before this meeting happens again. Graham County Votes Town Hall is tomorrow night at the Graham County General Services Building. There was a really low turnout for the primary, so Graham County Elections, Graham County Recorder wanted to do some outreach on that. The Thursday Mixer I talked about. Eastern Arizona Courier is doing their Best of the Gila Valley on Tuesday, September 1st at 6:30 p.m. That's at the EAC Activity Center. And then City to City Commercial is a new realtor in town. It's commercial realty only. They're opening in Thatcher on Allred Lane, and that's going to be on Saturday, September 12th. There's a couple of QR codes on this card. One of them is Contact the Chamber Team. That's our contact page. It shows all of our board members and our staff if you need to get a hold of us. And then the Gila Valley Plus events is where we are putting all the calendar items for the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, next I have Lachey Bruckner.
Hello, City Council. My name is Lachey Bruckner. I do preside in Safford City Limits. I'm kind of here to talk about updates, which kind of ranges a few gamuts of things. One, of course, the flock camera is one of the things I was concerned about. Whether they do or don't get approved, if they were to get approved, how do updates work? Will we be informed as far as how updates come and go? One of the reasons for that is I have seen, it's a very specific video of an interview that the CEO of Flock was giving and just talking about what updates he wants eventually all cameras to have. Just how would that process go in terms with what we're already doing, as well as there's a lot of city animal ordinances that need to be updated. We have adopted a lot of the Arizona state statutes, but then there seems to be a lot of holes on enforcement, facilities, where and how can we achieve these things. I do believe that all of these aren't just a Safford City community issue. It's our neighboring communities, Thatcher, Pima. It's our Graham County situation as well. And I feel like it's something that if we all come together, maybe we can find solutions to how we update our community. But feel like we should do it, make sure we're doing it all together and not just one little thing at a time, because sometimes I feel like the little things also tie into the bigger things. And if we view it as like a bigger picture, we might have a better view of which direction we're going, where we want it to go, and what might be the solutions to get there. So I know there's a lot of little details that go into that. That's one of the things, I guess, adding onto the agenda moving forward is ways we can get together and work these situations as a whole and see how, if we were to put all the pieces together, what would our community look like? I know that's kind of a hard thing to like picture or to answer, but I do believe that it's something we need to come together as a community for, which it shows that we have. That way we can make sure it's, because with the animal things, I totally agree with the police department. They end up with so many animal calls that they shouldn't have to focus on when they're trying to focus on everything else. And that's one of the reasons why the flock, because they're spread so thin. If we can maybe help lighten up some of that load, maybe we can make something work for everybody. And that's pretty much all I got to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, next I have Cindy Woodman.
My name is Cindy Woodman, and I do live in Safford city limits. I don't walk as well as I used to. My balance stinks. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again, time after time after time. Just because it's legal doesn't make it right. And just because you can doesn't mean you should. As far as the flock cameras go, it's my understanding that there's probably more than what we are aware of. There have been a lot of communities that have decided to not have cameras available. I kind of am boggled by the number of community cameras there are in this small of a community. When you look at Glendale, who voted down having flock cameras, and they had like 12. And I think Glendale is a lot bigger than Safford, Arizona. Aside from having tools that are beneficial to use, I get it. I understand tools. I take jewelry classes, I've taken wood classes, I've taken welding, and you know what? I like the old school way. And I kind of wonder what our police force did before we had flock cameras. And they were very, very good at their jobs. And they were able to get criminals and to keep them off the streets. And I don't think that we gave away constitutional rights that each of us enjoyed because of cameras. Now, switching gears, my other question is this. It's been brought to my attention that this council had voted at the last meeting to allow hundreds of thousands of dollars for the golf course. But Thatcher, and it should have been enough to cover until this period of the budget, right? But Thatcher was then approached for more money. Where is all the money going?
Thank you, Ms. Woodman. Your time's up. Mayor, next I have Aaron McCormick.
Good evening. My name is Aaron McCormick. My official address is just outside of city limits, I guess, but everything I do is in the city limits. I work in the city. I travel through the city every day. And I don't think I can say anything that hasn't already been said. I don't think I can add anything new to the conversation. So my only purpose for speaking tonight is to add my voices to the great many that have been given over this pulpit, and to express my gratitude to everybody who has spoken against the issue of flock cameras. It gives me faith in my community. It gives me faith in humanity in general. I see these cameras not just on the highway, but on the back roads of this town as well. And it's the feeling is very invasive. It's just very it's everywhere, and places where it definitely shouldn't be. Not that it should be anywhere. But these cameras have been voted out of many communities and cities and provinces and regions already. And in places where they have not, it's been fairly common for people to tear these cameras down. I'm glad to see that that's not happening here, and we can have a cordial conversation about it. But that's why I'm asking you to honor our trust in you and to take these away. And that's all I really have to say about that. Thank you.
Mayor, last comments from David McCormick.
Good evening. I live outside of city limits. If you don't commit crimes, you have nothing to worry about. That's what the Muslims in New York City thought in 2012 when New York City police started using license plate recorders to create a database of every vehicle that visited a mosque in the city. Last May, deputies in Texas used the network, the Flock network, to track down a woman they suspected of leaving the state for an abortion. She shouldn't have had anything to worry about. In Lenexa, Kansas last October, police used the Flock network to track the movements of a writer who criticized them in a column. He didn't commit a crime. He shouldn't have anything to worry about, right? Over a 2-year period, more than 50 agencies, including Oro Valley, Tempe, and Arizona DPS, used the National Flock Surveillance Network to track people who attended protests who were not suspected of any crime. As of this afternoon, 172 cases of ALPR abuse have been reported. It may be more now, but this afternoon it was 172. Officers stalking romantic interests, 45 cases. System used improperly or for personal reasons, 96 incidents. People jailed, innocent people jailed or held at gunpoint due to errors, 31 incidents. In all these incidents, the victims were told that the surveillance was being forced on them for their own safety. And if they had committed no crimes, they had nothing to worry about. Just in the last month, officers in Chandler, Goodyear, Surprise, and Apache Junction have been caught abusing the Flock network. They had direct access to the data from Safford, including my personal daily routine, thanks to the police and you guys. These cases are getting national attention. Authorities will and always have used mass surveillance to gather intel against anyone that they're interested in. The problem is who they're interested in changes all the time. In 2012, it was Muslims. During COVID, it was people who left home without an approved reason. 5 years from now, it might be conservatives. It might be liberals. It might be Latter-day Saints. We don't know. It depends on who's in power. If the tool is there, it will be used against the enemies of the state. Flock is asking us to let them slip a noose around our necks, and they're just promising they won't make it too tight. And our Safford police are telling us we should trust them not to make it too tight. But we're opting out of this. We can't get them out of Mesa, we can't get them out of Tucson or Atlanta, but we can get them out of our community. 10 days ago, Surprise became the 8th Arizona municipality to cancel after one of their officers got caught abusing it. I don't know if he was a bad guy, but it's human nature. We don't want these in our city.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick. That's your 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, that concludes all the public comments.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. And we'll move on to item number 7. Number 1, presentations is the downtown wayfinding signs. Lance?
Mayor and Council, before I introduce Danny Smith to come up and do this presentation, I want to take us just a second and see if he said it'd be okay to bring up Cody McNutt. He's our new city engineer. We hired him under 2 weeks now. Some of you have met him, but I wanted to introduce him to the rest of you, and feel free to ask him any questions if you want, but he'll be up in front of you soon.
Thank you.
Hopefully not too soon. Hopefully not too soon. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to work. Glad to be here. Looking forward to working with you guys. Looking to make Safford a good place. So I appreciate the opportunities, and if you guys need anything, reach out.
Thank you.
You guys have any questions?
They'll come.
Thanks, Cody.
I know.
On to this presentation, this has been a project that's been on the books for quite a while. It's something that Downtown Association brought to us years ago and got a grant to do it, and Danny Smith spearheaded this. And so a lot of you know about this project. Some of you may have been briefed on it, but don't know exactly what it is. So I talked to the city manager and said, we're getting closer to getting ready to put some of these up, and I wanted you to see what they look like, see where they're going. Just be briefed on it before something starts happening and question starts being asked. So this is just kind of an update. I want to bring Danny up and kind of run through the history of it. And then I'm here to help answer any questions as far as construction, where they're going to go, that kind of stuff. All right.
Mayor, Council, good evening. This is a project that we began 6 years ago. The Freeport Community Investment Fund had some extra money that we could apply for, everyone could apply for. We did 3 things with that money. We had a 48-hour makeover event. It turned into about 580 hours, but the winner of that was El Coronado Restaurant, where we completely remodeled El Coronado Restaurant. Another thing that we did was we started our mural program, and the first mural went downtown on the Farmers Insurance Building. This project has been, we've been working on this for a long time. It's important to us in downtown that we let people on the highway know where downtown is, right? Just 1 block south, or the majority of downtown Main Street, 1 block south of Highway 70, with with 20,499 vehicles a day in 2017. This is a slide, or this data is from a slide from a long time ago, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when we put the grant application together. There's more cars than that today, of course. And actually that section between Highway 70 and 191 and 8th Avenue is the second busiest portion of 70, except for that area right around 20th and 70 out by Walgreens. So these are signs that are, from places that look like, every place USA. This was one approach that we had, and we got some great designs from one of our local vendors, but we wanted to have something a little more unique. Go ahead. Inspired by, there were, that Buena Vista sign was 60 feet tall on the highway at Central and 70. There's a lot of great examples that we pulled from. You can go to the next slide. In black and white photos of downtown Safford, it's, if you think about it, some of these black and white photos I didn't include are actually really colorful. Those baked enamel signs from our past, line Main Street and line Highway 70. This was some of our inspiration. We worked with world-class metal artist Rick Merrill, who happens to live in Pima, Arizona, who now works for Ponderosa Aviation. We hoped that he would take this on as a passion project, because otherwise we couldn't afford it. We got a grant for $35,000, and we were able to build 4 signs with his help. And at that time, we asked, when we brought up the concept, we met with city council or the city manager, and asked that if we built them, would the city install them for us? And so that's the point that we are at now. Go ahead. This is some of our early design work. Go ahead. The metal fabrication over time. And where we intend to put, we didn't know how far we would get with that money, but we want to at least subliminally create a corridor on Highway 70 with signage that points toward, downtown, the heart of the city. Kind of like when you're visiting a city you're unfamiliar with, and you are looking for a place to park because you're getting close, and you look and you see signage and outdoor seating or flags and trees, and you think, oh, time to find a place to park. That's a signal we want people to get on Highway 70. So those are the first 4 locations that we identified. I said first because we'd hope to get further, and so we'll just see if we hope that people love them. They'll be lit also at night, and maybe we will want more of them. On the next slide. Oh, we provided the engineering to hold the sign. That comes along with what we've done. Go ahead. And these are our first 4 signs. When they're done and they're up, they're 20 feet tall. They're pretty big. And so we want them to be that. They say entertainment, dining, shopping, with arrows to say this direction in one way or another. So that's where we're looking for help. We can't place things in the city of Safford right away, of course. We have designed this project to stay out of the ADOT right away, just right out of the ADOT right away. We'd like to be as close as we can to the ADOT right away, close to the highway of course, as possible. So, you have any questions?
They look great. I'm excited.
Thank you.
A lot of work has been put into that, and I'm sure, knowing you, Danny, it's going to keep on going.
All right, thank you, Richard. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think people will say, well, a lot of people will wonder, has that always been there? And we hope that happens, and we hope people love them. And I think they're going to look fantastic when they're lit at night.
Do you have any target date of when you would like to start mounting them?
2024. So whenever y'all have the crew and are able to install them is great with us. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, Lance.
So you mentioned power. We got to have power to these, and 2 locations actually have power there. The one there by the post office, we've got one on each side of the road. We're going to take the old black street lights that are there, and that's where we're going to replace those basically with these signs somewhere in that same vicinity, and that's where we'll get the power for the first 2. And those will be probably the first 2 you see. Then one down there, we've got power close to the digital sign on Central. We got to figure out how to get power over to where we want to put the one on Central. It'll be by that digital sign on Central. The other one on 6th Avenue on the west side of the post office is going to be a little bit of a chore to get power there, but our electric team will help us get it there. So it'll be probably drag it out a little bit more, but the first 2 we want to do should be fairly simple right there on 5th Avenue at the post office and get it started.
Forward to seeing them. Nice. Thank you. Anybody else?
Danny, do you know what signs are going where? Have you figured that out yet?
Yes.
Which ones are going where?
She brought this, so in case that
can't
question
remember,
came
but
up.
He's got a map.
I got an email from Danny that tells me where he wanted them, because I asked that same question. Safford Historic City Center, the yellow body with their yellow body sign is on the southeast corner, 6th Avenue and 70, so the yellow one would go on 6th. The Safford Entertainment blue and yellow body. The red Safford, and then the dining sign would be the ones at 5th Avenue. So those, basically the one on the left, and then the one, the Safford dining one, and then the shopping one would be on the southeast corner. That's the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep it going, Danny. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 2, Sanford Fire Department Annual Report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I dropped off a copy of the annual report for all you guys last week. Hopefully you had a chance to read through it. So I'll give you a brief overview of our accomplishments and what we did last year. So last year we responded to 185 emergency calls. 100 of those were within the city limits. Between the 27 members on the fire department, we did a combined training of about 1,340 hours, and that's either between Tuesday night trainings or going out of town or other trainings. We successfully upgraded our records keeping to a digital system, so all our new any calls, training records, that is all digitally kept now, so we don't not digging through filing cabinets and stuff trying to find stuff. And the biggest thing we probably did, we secured a $200,000 grant from United Way of Graham and Greenlee County to support our vision out at the training center to start building the classroom out there. With that, I stand for any questions if you guys have on it or any suggestions for this coming up year.
Chief, is this the slides and the information you provided us, is it on the Safford site? Because it is interesting information.
I have previously talked with the city clerk, and I'll talk with Eric, because I think the annual report is probably something we need to add to our fire department tab on the city website. So we can work on that.
Well, maybe not the entire report, but some of this information, how many calls, what they were, there was some interesting stuff in there.
Yep, well, I'll get with the city manager and we'll see what we can come up with.
Thank you, Chief.
So you said you secured the grant for $200,000 for the training center. Is that going to start soon?
I hope so.
The Vermont. And is it fully grant funded?
Been working with Lance and Jace, so that's only for the classroom out there. So we're hoping to have it done by January, but I think, with the change and a couple of things, we're shooting for May.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 8 under new business. Special event liquor license application for the Salsa Fest and Chamber Mixer.
Good evening, Mayor Ortega. I will be presenting this on behalf of Mr. Mick Reese. He had a family emergency, he's not able to attend. So the two following items I'll be presenting on his behalf. First one is the special event liquor license. This is a request for the mayor and city council to review and approve the Arizona Department Liquor Licenses and Control application presented in support of the 2026 Nature Salsa Suite Festival Chamber Mixer event in association with the Graham County Chamber of Commerce. The application requires approval by the local governing body for the final consideration by the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control. A background on this, the Chamber Mixer will be held on Thursday, September 24th, 2026, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. This year, it's going to be hosted at the Women's Club on Main Street. The Mixer is a traditional pre-festival event hosted by the Graham County Chamber in gratitude to the various sponsors in support of the Salsa Fest. The Graham County Chamber's Commerce Special Events License application provides a detailed security plan which notes the event venue location as an open container alcohol zone for on-site consumption. There will be one controlled entry and exit point at the venue, along with one other exiting emergency exit point. 3 event staff will provide security oversight to ensure all attendees purchasing alcohol are checked for proper ID. Wristbands will be required to identify those patrons are able to purchase and carry the alcoholic beverage. There is a 2-drink purchase per bar visit that will be enforced, and all patron consumptions are being monitored. The servers will also have the required Arizona Title IV alcohol servers certification. I have the application attached along with the map of the location. I can get there. The Women's Club. And Vance Bryce is also here in case I can't answer some of the questions, but I'll stand for any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Mayor, I move that we approve a special event liquor license application for the Salsa Fest Chamber Mixer.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the special liquor license application for the Salsa Fest Chamber Mixer. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you, Mayor. So the next item we have is the special events liquor license for the actual 2026 Salsa Fest. Same information, just a little bit of difference on the dates here. The Salsa Fest is going to be a 2-day event that's scheduled for Friday, September 25th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., and then Saturday, September 26th from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. The event will take place on the Safford City Lawn, City Hall Drive, Main Street between 8th and 6th Avenues, and by the Graham County Courthouse Lawn along 8th Avenue. So it's the same analysis. It's the 2-day event that the Chamber hosts, and we just have the special events liquor license for this event. And with that, I stand for any questions. Let me show the diagram here for a little backwards. City Hall.
Mayor, I move that we approve the special event liquor license application for the 2026 Salsa Fest.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the special event liquor license for the 2026 Salsa Fest. All in favor? Opposed? Done. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 3. The minutes of our council meeting of August 10th, 2026. Any comments, corrections?
I don't have any corrections. I just have comments in the meeting last time I had brought up about which would serve as the official if we had to come back on any minutes. And if we voted on the minutes, did that stop us from utilizing the video or the recording? I believe the clerk did reach out to the attorney and said that what we did vote on was the official minutes, but that if there was ever any questions about the validity of those minutes, then the recording would be there to help us confirm anything we questioned or might want to go back over as far as history. And that's pretty much what I had in question, not that there was anything wrong with the minutes. Just wanted to make sure that we and the public always had that video to draw on also for anything they wanted to find.
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes for August 10th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the August 10th, 2026 council meeting minutes. All in favor? Opposed? And we'll move on to item number 9, ordinances. Number 1, ordinance 026-005, amending the city code section 2.04.140 and 2.04.150.
Thank you, Mayor. How did I end up with all the items for tonight? All right. Thank you, Mayor. So this is a presentation for the item to consider the ordinance 026-005, amending the city code section 2.04.140 that relates to the agenda, and section 2.04.150 for the order of business. And this is to provide for the use of the consent agenda for city council meetings. This item is being brought forward as requested by Councilwoman Flores at the March 23rd, 2026 council meeting. Background on the consent agenda is the meeting procedure used to group together routine items that typically do not require separate discussion into one section of the agenda for approval through one single motion and vote. Any council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and action. Based on some staff research, the last known use of a consent agenda by the City Council occurred on May 22nd, 2017. And at the March 23rd, 2026 council meetings, Councilwoman Flores requested that the use of the consent agenda be brought back to council for consideration as a future agenda item. The consent agenda process was discussed with the mayor and city council during the April 27th, 2026 work session. At that time, council provided direction to proceed with bringing the consent agenda process back for implementation. So the analysis on this is the ordinance 026-005 proposes amendments to the city code sections for the agenda and the order of business to incorporate the consent agenda process into the city's established agenda and meeting procedures. My recommendation is that mayor and city council complete the first reading of ordinance 026-005 to amend the city code section 2.04.140 for agenda, 2.04.150 for order of business, consistent with this council direction provided during the April work session. The second reading and consideration for adoption, I will bring back at a later scheduled meeting. I had noted September 14th, but we have since then pushed that to September 28th is when I'll bring it back for the second reading. And with that, I'll stop for any questions. I do also have the red line of where we'll be adding on to the city code. We have this first section here. This is for under the agenda section. And then the second section will just be under the order of business. Is time for any questions?
Can you explain the process for if there is a consent agenda and there's something within the consent agenda that a council member wants to take out and have discussion on? Can you just go through that, what that process looks like?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor, Councilwoman Flores. So the process would be very simple. If I have like 8 items on the consent agenda and you feel we need to discuss one a little bit further, for instance, like tonight, I would have bundled together the special event liquor licenses. And if any of the council members felt they wanted further discussion, you would just ask for that to be pulled. There would be a motion to get it removed from the consent agenda. And then once we finish the consent agenda approval, then we would move over to that next item and discuss it. And then if there's a motion to approve then or table or however the process would go.
I'd like to, I'm sorry, Vice
Go ahead.
Mayor.
Go ahead, Brett.
Just to clarify, would it require a motion, a second, and a vote to remove it? Or can one council person just have it removed?
Bill, will you give clarification on that?
Just a sec. Yes, only one council, because he or she wants to discuss. It doesn't take a motion in a second. Any one council member could say, I would like to discuss this and have it moved off the consent agenda to be considered by the entire council.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
So we would have to wait till the meeting in order to ask to have that removed? Or because we get our agendas on Wednesday and we see at that time, we might want one removed? Can we get with the manager, say Wednesday or Thursday, and request to have it removed then?
I'll let Bill answer that. I believe I can do an amendment to the agenda, but I'll let him answer that.
You could, but it makes it very complicated. What I think the clerk is suggesting, and one of your counselors had recommended, that we try to figure out a way, like most jurisdictions, to take these sort of perfunctory actions and combine them in a consent agenda. Yes, Mr. Mayor, you could pull it if you wish, but you have that ability at the meeting. And now, as a courtesy, if you're going to pull it, you may want to give the clerk and the manager a heads up so that they're prepared to have a discussion on the item. But it's unnecessary to actually do it before the meeting. In fact, it makes it more complicated and it defeats the purposes of the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a streamlined way to deal with issues efficiently that don't require discussion. But any one of you can decide, I want discussion, and that can be done at the meeting. It doesn't need to be done before the meeting. If done before the meeting and you want the agenda changed, then that requires the clerk to repost and renotice. It'd be much easier to just do it at the meeting.
Well, then, without removing it from the agenda, can everyone be at least notified that that may be your intent?
You can, but to what end? You're gonna tell the rest of the council at the meeting that you would like it discussed.
But I just, that way they would have some time to think about it and not just
Well,
surprise
if we
it
do-
Monday night.
Yeah, we can do that, but then you're gonna have to do an amended agenda and republish.
Anybody else?
You can do that. Then if that's your case, then don't do the consent agenda. I mean,
No,
the consent agenda was a vehicle to try to be efficient.
and it would work. It does work. It needs to be in there because we do have a lot of things we can do on a consent. I'm in favor for the consent agenda item. I just had that question. And also,
This-
Dee, I'm glad you brought this up and in between these ordinances because we do need to talk about some of the things that take place during the meeting. And you brought up here that, for example, that any one counselor can request something on the agenda. And also that if something comes up on an agenda and within, what is it, 60 days or six months, you can bring back an item, but it takes at least three counselors to bring it back.
Vice Mayor Lopez, that's correct. So if it's been an item, whether it was approved or tabled or whatever the case may be, and it's been within the last 6 months on the agenda, you can request it, but then you need 2 additional council members to back you up.
So it would be 3.
Correct.
Okay. And then also, if something fails, that covers that. But if something fails because of a tie, then if we bring it back, then only those that voted that time are still allowed to vote. The one that wasn't there is not allowed to vote.
Bill, I'm going to let you chime in on that one.
I don't understand the question. If it's a tie, then I don't think that's subject to the 6-month rule and you just bring it back. And I don't know why one person would be excluded. If it's a tie, bring it back and vote again.
But if they weren't there to vote, do they get to vote the next time it's brought back?
Oh, yeah, because they're a counselor and then it comes back and then they vote at that meeting. Because a tie means it wasn't approved.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean, but it doesn't mean you can't come back. I think you can bring it back at the very next meeting. And whoever's at the meeting has the right to vote.
Oh, okay, then that's why I'm trying to clarify it.
Yes,
And
sir, yes, sir.
And even if they had recused themselves?
Well, if they recuse themselves, then the facts giving rise to the recusal probably still apply and they have to recuse again, unless something changed, but I doubt that would happen. The recusal would be driven by the facts. If they thought they had to recuse at the meeting when there was a tie, I don't know why at the next council meeting, 2 weeks later, the same facts wouldn't result in recusal again, but I'd be happy to talk to that counselor if something changed to where they felt they no longer had to recuse. But I believe with such a short period of time between the 2 meetings, I can't believe a recusal wouldn't also be required at the second meeting.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. And also now, it also says that if an item fails because of a tie and you want to bring it back, then at that time, it only takes 1 counselor to bring it back. Wouldn't it still be the 3?
I don't think so, because, I mean, you now had an item on the agenda that failed only because because of a tie vote. My view would be it would just come back. I don't think the 6-month rule would apply, to be honest. I think it would have to, you want to bring it back to let the council consider it.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Bill, can you clarify? So what is a tie considered? Is it considered a no
It's a
or a
fail.
yes?
It's considered, depends what the approval, if indeed the action was to disapprove something, it disapproves, it would be whatever was on the agenda was not approved. That's how it would be, characterized.
And that means that action was taken on that item.
No, it means no. Well, technically, yes. It was not, the action would be it was not approved.
Yes.
That would be the action, yes.
And that's
That would
why-
be action, I agree with you, yes.
Yes, and that's why it's kind of still, and I'd have to talk it over with Dee and the manager and probably you, because I think some of that falls under, it's not quite clear to me, Bill, so I'd need to talk with you further.
Yes, sir. But I think the goal is you had an item that someone wanted on the agenda and there was a tie. That means that item was not approved. I don't think that means that item cannot appear on the agenda for 6 months because it was a function of a failure to get an affirmative vote. I'd have to look at your code provision. You raise a good point, Mr. Vice Mayor. Does that mean it was rejected and therefore can't come back? I understand the point, and maybe we need to look at it. But I think I think there should be a way to bring it back. But you raise a good point. Technically, that would be a disapproval, and technically, the 6-month rule would apply. But that would mean something that you wanted to be on the agenda can't be on the agenda for 6 months simply because you failed to get an affirmative vote. So, but you raise a good point. I think what B is saying, a number of these provisions in your code probably need to be addressed and revised.
Okay.
But you
and-
raise a good point, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, and when I get,
Sorry.
and when I get to talk to you, I'll give you the example that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance O26-005, amending city code sections 2.04.140 and 2.04.150.
Mayor Ortega, sorry, Councilman Flores, the motion would be just to do the first reading. With ordinances, we have a first, second reading.
Okay.
So this is just for the first reading.
A motion for the first reading of ordinance O26-005.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the first reading of ordinance 026-005, amending the city code section 2.04.140 and 2.04.150. All in favor?
Thank you, Mayor. This completes the first reading of ordinance O26-005, an ordinance of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, amending sections 2.04.150 agenda and 2.04.150 order of business of the City of Safford Municipal Code to provide the implementation of a consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 2. We'll close the regular meeting and convene into executive session. An action item.
Mayor, I move that we convene into
Mr. Mayor,
executive session.
Before you do, if I could jump in, because I was looking at the code, it is addressed in your code. An agenda item coming before the council that fails by virtue of a tie may be placed on the agenda for an upcoming council meeting at the request of any council member. So it's in the code.
Yes, sir. But it's
Okay,
also, it's also in the code prior to that we talked about. We took action on that, and that falls under the premise of it would probably take 3 to bring it back.
Well, let's you and me talk. I think that last sentence is pretty clear, but let's talk, Mr. Vice Mayor. Okay,
Okay.
I wanted to interrupt that. I found it in your code. I'm sorry.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
After 5 minutes?
We had a motion to go into executive session made by Councilman Hemphill.
Second.
Motion and a second to convene the regular meeting and go into executive session. All in favor? Done.
Just 4
and reconvene back into our regular meeting. Item number 12, announcement of current events. Anybody?
Mayor, I have a couple. Again, this whole meeting's mine. So I do have some information for the Police Department Citizens Academy. I believe this is the last week to sign up for it. Trying to pull up the flyer. Did you want to speak real quick? I have my. Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Our Citizens Police Academy will be starting September 1st and run for 6 weeks. Again, B can attest to it. It's a great time. So if you are interested or know anybody who's interested, you can come into the office to get an application, or you can do it online. So just put the word out. And again, it's a really good time. A lot of good information. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Second current event that I have, we have officially canceled the September 14th council meeting. We'll reconvene on September 28th. Might be a little bit of a lengthy meeting, but I think it'll be more beneficial because of September 14th, I only had my minutes and second reading of an ordinance. So we would have came for 2 items. So we'll see everybody on September 28th.
Mayor, oh, go ahead, Vice Mayor, I'm sorry.
And with that, I thought in between that time, with current events coming up, Salsa Fest, things downtown, there's still that request from some of the citizens to enhance our handicap access to where they have where they can park, where they can sit, because a lot of them, like for our 250 parade, they were very excited about it, but they couldn't get into it, so they want us to try to work something out for them. So I'm hoping that's still on staff's radar. And I also, with our 501(c) applications coming up, I'm hoping we get that, because I myself would certainly like to address the ones I have before I leave.
Correct. Mayor, Vice Mayor, so a little update on the donation program. We are finalizing all the final papers. We just had some last minute things that came up that kind of delayed that process. I did have my admin assistant, Jessica, update all the forms. Everything is ready. I just want to have one last meeting with Eric to run over everything, make sure we have our dates correct. And so I'm hoping by probably the end of this week, we will have that open. And I believe last that we discussed, it is going to be open for a full 30 days for applications. So far right now, I believe we're just going to follow the same process that we've had the 2 previous years that we've done it. Just the application process, staff will bring it up for discussion and review, and then we'll do the decision how we have in the past.
But the awarding of it's going to be with what we were talking about, this budget, individual.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, that hasn't been discussed yet. That'll probably be a future item that we'll be discussing if we want to change the process. As of right now, my direction is we're doing the same process where the entire council votes and everybody is on the same page of awarding that. If we want to change it, then someone do a request for a future agenda item to bring that back.
But I thought we talked about that each one of us would have our own selection.
So it was briefly discussed during the budget process. I believe it was mentioned by the then finance director, but there was never actual direction given by any council member to bring that back to be reviewed. Again, if you'd like to, just request it on the next item and we'll be happy to bring that back for you.
Anybody else?
Mayor, just a couple real quick. Vice Mayor, to your point for the parking for events, I've already worked with our special events liaison to address that. So more than likely, City Hall parking lot will be reserved for that. Just a couple other things. So you're all aware that one of the Arizona senators was in the city of Safford just a few weeks ago and took a tour of not only the city, but also the city fire department. That is one of the things we are working on. And there is interest in his office supporting our cause to get a new fire station. So that was actually months in the making. As you recall, his staff was out here visiting the city and our fire department several months back. So to actually get the senator here was great. I had an opportunity to follow up with him in person at the league conference last week, and there is still that, at least the verbal commitment to help us move that forward. So I will certainly stay in the senator's ear and see how we progress that. You all should have an email from me about a strategic workshop, so if you would, please take a look at your inbox. I'm trying to plan some dates. I believe I sent some dates for October. It's the better part of a day that we would get together with some folks to lead us through that session. And then it's a 2-day workshop, actually. One day is dedicated to the management team, and then one day is for council. And then I believe we bring the management team as well. So if you check that, I'd appreciate it. And then B did mention this, and I'll just echo it briefly, canceling the September 14th meeting. The agenda was light. I think we can all agree. We spent a lot of Monday evenings in this room together, and I truly appreciate that since the beginning of the year. So giving our team a week off or a council meeting off is much deserved. So we'll come back strong on September 28th. And then lastly, last week, as you all know, city leaders and elected officials gathered in Phoenix last week for the League of Arizona Cities and Towns annual conference. So thank you all for your attendance at that. I certainly walked away with not only some new relationships that will help benefit the city, but also some new education to help support my role as your city manager. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay.
I will have my receipts to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll move on to item number 13, requests for future agenda items.
I got ahead. I was ahead again. I always do that to you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
Mayor.
ahead.
I'm good. I mentioned it to Dee already. Parking, 501(c)(3)s.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, so you would like that item to be officially brought back and discuss changing the process?
I think we can go on your timeline. We can go with yours. I thought we had already said that's what we were gonna do.
I had brought it up before to
Yeah.
consider a different process, but I think I wanted the same process from the application process, but just from when we are come to the meeting to decide who gets the funding.
The awarding.
The awarding part, we were all kind of all over the place, and I just thought if we just went through each council member and you were allotted a specific amount, and we would have the list of everyone who applied and how much they applied for, and then we could say, you know, these are, so that was my suggestion back when we were doing budget, but there was never anything, and I didn't know that there was really a lot of interest for it. In fact, I kind of felt like maybe there wasn't interest to do it that way and just do it the old way.
Mayor and Councilwoman Flores, I do agree. I did get some comments from council members that they felt that that would be a little too much of a spotlight on them, because then it's not the group of 7 voting to give X amount to X amount of entities. It's each individual one of you. Just think long-term, you will have that reflect on you as well, that you selected, you know, just these 3 donation entities. And so, but we're more than happy to bring that back. If you want to see that process, we can bring 2 different options, keep it the same, change it to where each member has all allotted amount. It's up to you.
No, I think I'm good with keeping it the same. It was just a suggestion, something to think about. I think the process is still a little clunky, and maybe in the future we can maybe come up with a better solution. But
And Mayor, Councilwoman Flores, I personally do feel that the process could be a little bit better, especially with making sure that we have representatives from each person that applies here to discuss what are they applying for. If you have more information, you know, for them to be here. We did send out notifications last time, but we just didn't have too much of a turnout. And then it looks poorly because the ones that did turn out, why was there only 2 or 3 people here? Why wasn't everybody here? So I think maybe if we push just a little bit more, maybe make it part of the application process that you have to come and voice your opinion as to why you feel you deserve the donation. If that's something you're interested in, we can put it in the application process, just as a process, like it will be required for you to attend the meeting. Again, sometimes we only get 15 applicants. This year we could get 60, so keep that in mind also. So I mean, there's good and bad for each side.
This is the conversation we need to have in a
Right.
future meeting, though. So we need to bring it back and have this out.
So I just need someone, if you want to bring back someone from council, please request it.
I'm requesting it.
Thank you, Mr. McGoy.
I don't want to have it tonight.
I'm not prepared tonight. It's already been my meeting, not tonight. Right.
Anybody else? If not, we'll move on to item number 14.
Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Thank you.